The history of kicking in the NFL is one of borrowing and improving from other sports. In this video, I detail the history and evolution of kicking in the NFL, and I might be able to prove that kickers are people too. Well, kind of. No, maybe not. American football has its roots in rugby football, yet for the most part of its history, the style of kicking developed independently of it. Kicking has always played a major role in the sport of football, hence the name, although its importance has become more diminished. In fact, looking at all the footage of all forms of kicking from NFL's 100-year history, they may look a bit weird to us now. Place kickers would kick the ball straight on with the point of the toe, up until Pete Golak, a Hungarian-born player, introduced the league to soccer-style kicking. This had the added benefit of being more accurate. More recently, kickers kick the ball with the side of the foot, enhancing that accuracy. Not only a change in technique, but also the rules have also had a change on kickers themselves. Historically, if a player was tackled inside, will be moved 10 yards into the dead ball line. Although no accurate figures exist, this is presumed to have an impact upon place kicking accuracy. Prior to Hashmarks, kicks could happen anywhere on the field, providing that they were behind the line of scrimmage. Pre-NFL 1892, first known rulebook dictated goalposts are erected and should be 18 feet to 6 inches apart, with a crossbar 10 feet from the ground. In other words, most football games utilised H-posts, and this will remain for most of the NFL history. The NFL moved the goalpost back of the end zone in order to match the NCAA rules in 1927. This unintentionally led to more tight game. In 1933, they moved the goalpost back to the goal line. Not surprisingly, field goals increased by twofold and tie games decreased. The adoption of hash marks also made it easier for a kicker as it gave them a better angle, and for a team, they didn't necessarily have to waste a play in order to get more central. Not much changed for the next 33 years until 1966, when a resolution was adopted by the NFL owners that required the goalpost to be offset from the goal line, and that they should extend 20 feet into the air. This led to the evolution of the Y post. The H posts were becoming more of a health concern. Finally, in 1974, the league pushed the goalpost back to the end line. The change was made mostly to encourage offenses to score touchdowns rather than field goals, as when the posts were on the goal line, it in effect acted as two extra linemen, meaning defenses could spread their coverage wider, and when they were in the middle of the end zone, they in effect acted as an extra safety, preventing scoring opportunities. Paul Brown told Sports Illustrated in 1974, "The whole end zone is open for pass patterns now. The goalposts were in effect another safety man, and when you got inside the 20, you couldn't run or pass around them, and it was hard to punt or pass coming out of the end zone. The Y posts, by their very nature, are narrower than the H post, which also makes it harder for the kicker to score." A pretty common type of kick, historically, was the drop kick, and this kick is still pretty common in rugby. Sorry Australia, I had to show Johnny Wilkinson winning the World Cup for England in Australia against Australia. Good times. Good times. Anyway, neutrality restored, the ball was much rounder than the current ball. This could bounce off the ground more easily. In fact, it meant that kicking in general was easier. The drop kick was for a period of time a preferred form of kicking, as it was perceived to be more accurate than a place kick, and in theory freed a man from place holding to kick protection. It also allowed an individual to get a greater or better angle at kicking through the posts. This is because at the time, place kickers kicked straight on, not with soccer style. It is unclear as to when the last drop kick was in the NFL prior to 1940. However, recently Doug Flutie managed to kick a drop goal. The last drop goal in NFL history for 3 points is a toss-up between Joe Ventrano, Scooter McLean and Earl Dutch Clark. The use of the drop kick diminished when the balls became smaller and more elongated, and therefore made drop kicking harder. The skill and technique of punting has hardly changed in the last 90 years. However, the last 10 years has seen the greatest innovation. The most common type of punt is the spiral, or euphemistically known as the turnover ball.
So it goes up in the air, it turns over as we call it, and then comes down. Gives you distance, more hang time.
However, it is also easier to catch. therefore potentially return.
Don't ever kick to the middle. Never kick it in the middle.
Make them feel uncomfortable back there and give them something other than just sitting underneath a ball, camping out and catching it.
Though total yards from the kick may be reduced, net yards could potentially increase with these types of kicks. Do you remember what we mentioned from the beginning of this episode? Many American punting coaches took a call from Clive Woodward, the head of the England international rugby team. The punting coaches taught England players to kick a long way and also brought back with them different ways to kick the ball and techniques. Another and possibly more influential movement was the adoption of Australian punters. Australia's number one sport is Aussie rules football. Their main form of kick is to throw the ball to the foot, as this gets more power. In terms of American football, this in theory makes the ball go flatter and for longer. It is also a quicker way to punt the ball. Australian kicking, such as the volley within rugby, has also permeated the NFL to a lesser extent. With the introduction of these punting techniques, the average net yards per punt increased from 40 yards in 2003 to 46 yards in 2016.
When you make contact on the ball, if you want to kick it high and long, that ball needs to be flat so that our foot can come way up under here. When that ball comes down flat, they can strike it with good strength. Nice taut core. I would spin it to there and
NFL kickers have improved greatly since its 100-year history. This has been shown within the laws. 2011, kickoffs were moved from the 30-yard line to the 35-yard line. 2015, one-point conversions were moved to the 15-yard line. Honourable mentions must go to the barefoot kickers of the 80s. Tom Dempsey, whose NFL long record of 63-yard field goal with an asterisk forced the NFL to create laws for disabled people as he was missing half a toe. Adam Vinatieri, the oldest player to score a field goal over 50 yards and the highest field goal scorer in history. Mark Mosley, the only season MVP special team specialist and now co-founder of Five Guys. Although Johnny Hecker did come close to becoming Superbowl MVP in 2019.